for an adventure?
To turn down the mic.
This is the video now. All right.
Welcome to Bandits from Dagobah.
That's
We've got
us.
another edition of the show for you today, and we're doing something that we haven't done before.
Not
Now,
at all.
granted, our channel's only been alive for like 2 days, so not surprising. Kyle, what the heck are we doing?
Today we are doing a top 5 what we want to see in the next season
Is this a top 5?
of The Mandalorian. Did you do more than 5? I said top 5.
I mean,
You were just writing down
I
notes.
was, yeah.
So anyways, yeah, we're going to just lay out the things that we're really hoping to see in The Mandalorian because I believe it comes out next week, or at the very least it comes out in the next 2 weeks, the first episode of season 3. So yeah, we've been following the show. We really, really like it. And we kind of got a season 3 in the book of Boba Fett.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole nother thing. We're not talking about that today because today we're talking about what we want in season 3. So what's the first thing that we want in season 3? I don't know why I phrased it like that.
I don't know either. Yeah, okay, so here's what I'll say. I'll start out with general and then kind of break it down smaller as we get further into the episode. The biggest thing I want is more Monster of the Week episodes. That is coupled with an overarching arc. Because I think that is really what set the first season apart, is that it wasn't this huge continuation of the Skywalker saga, which there's a lot of good things in that, but it took place within the Skywalker saga, yes, but it was so distant. It was, maybe they would reference something about the Skywalkers, but it wasn't really about that. And now we did sort of get to see that in season 2, but I do definitely want to stray back away from that and focus more on Din Djarin and Grogu and their development.
The biggest thing that I want from season 3 of the show is I want a clear outline of where the show is going. In the first season, it was clear basically by like episode 2. All right, the show's going to Din Djarin is going to get Grogu to the Jedi. That's where the show is heading, right? They made it very clear. Like, he's got to return him to his kind. Now, I thought originally that meant like the species of Yoda, but
Yes.
and that might still be on the table for all we know. But he did get him to Luke at the end of the end of season 2. And then we, for some reason, got what should have been the plot of season 3 in the end of Boba Fett, and it was condensed into 3 episodes. Yeah, it was done well, but it's like, where does the show go now?
Where's Boba Fett in the book of Boba Fett?
Right. Well, but like, where does the show go now? There's this plot probably about reclaiming Mandalore. Where does Grogu fit in that?
Yeah.
Is that where the show is going? That, now that Grogu's had a little bit of Jedi training, is going to help reclaim Mandalore? I don't know, but I feel they don't have to explicitly tell me what the ending of the show is going to be, obviously, but a firm idea of where these next seasons are heading would be greatly appreciated.
So I'll piggyback off you. One thing I do want to see, I would love to see Yoda's home planet, whatever that is. And that's going to be very divisive for probably a lot of people. But one of the things I like most in anything is lore, if that's what you want to call it. And I think, Yoda and his species has been a mystery for so long. And it might be better that it remains a mystery, but also to learn about the Yoda culture, whatever their species is called, I think that'd be super interesting to see at the very least.
It's kind of odd because at this point we've seen only 3 of these creatures. We've seen Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu.
Which is not
And so-
a yuh.
Right, which is already divisive.
Unless the Grogu starts
It's spelled
with a
spelled
Y.
with a Y. Yeah, it's your Grogu.
Yeah.
It's your boy Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting. It's not something I've ever considered before until this show came out, which is, well, okay, Grogu's 50 years old, so who are his parents?
Yeah.
Because these other species, like Yoda's like 900 years old by the time he dies. Yaddle, we can assume, is, I don't know, a couple hundred years old. Grogu was born basically like right before the Phantom Menace. So it's like, okay, so there is a species of Yoda currently repopulating the Earth, and we know it's not, or their planet,
Right.
and we know it's not Yoda or Yaddle because they're Jedi, and that Jedi aren't supposed to do that. It just begs the question. It's like, are we going to see that planet? I don't know. Maybe. My second thing that I want to see. No, the second thing that I want to see, and this is a pet peeve of mine that this show has done, is I want to see space battles not in the middle of nowhere. As it turns out, dogfights are not that thrilling to watch when you have no frame of reference.
Talking about like in space
they're
or
in
in
the-
the desert?
No,
or,
no, no.
Or in the barren parts of a planet.
That's fine because we can still see top and bottom. In space, it's just 360 of nothing, and
Yeah.
all the space battles that they've had have just been in the literally in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Not even like just near a planet, which I would argue, and everybody who's played the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 knows, it's obviously better to have space battles there because it looks cooler.
Yeah. We do have his new ship now, so there is a higher possibility of that, I think. It's smaller, it's more maneuverable. It's a fucking Naboo starfighter or whatever, so it's,
Yeah.
makes sense for that to happen.
And we're definitely going to see more spinning.
That's a good trick.
I would like to see, this kind of goes into my first point, is less interaction with the things that we know already. Because again, one of the best parts of Mandalorian, which I think was the first real show or real Star Wars content that is canon now, that stepped outside of the Skywalker canon as it is affected directly. Again, it still takes place in that era, but it's this random person that is nothing to do with any of that. So yeah, I want to step away from Luke and Ahsoka and get back to dealing with things that we don't know.
Yeah.
Because again, super interesting lore stuff that is sort of referenced, and that's always more interesting because you get to question in your own mind, well, what does that mean for all of this? And I would love to see that.
So I have this next one is very conflicting for me because I feel like I'm on either side of this this idea, which is no more legacy characters at all, or incorporate more. To me, it's riding this middle line where the show is like mostly standalone adventures with its own cast, which is great. But also it has everybody in the world that's been in a past movie. And it's like, you know what? If you're going to do that, commit. Where is Han?
Yeah.
Why have I not seen Han? Can you imagine how cool it would be to see the Mandalorian meet Han Solo? I mean, those are two really cool blaster-wielding characters. You're telling me you haven't even tried? Now, please don't deep fake Harrison Ford onto an actor. Please, please. Swear to God, just hire another person.
Just hire the same guy who played him before.
It's just Luke and it's just Ahsoka and I know they brought in like Bo-Katan.
Okay.
And that's fine. Like if you're reaching out of like basically obscurity to grab a character, I think that's fine. But this is why I originally said no more legacy characters, because the show was way more interesting when you didn't recognize anybody.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
The original cast of characters were endearing and there was a lot to go into in terms of story purpose, but by the time you get to season 2, it was just like literally every episode had like a new cameo of like a person that I knew before, and it's like that Red Letter Media meme where it's like, I know him, yay!
Yeah.
It's like, and so I hope they stray away from that, but if they don't stray away from it, I hope we get some new people that we don't see all that often, but that are legacy characters.
And so here's what I'll say about that. I agree with like the big names, no, but I do like seeing those very quick instances of people like Bo-Katan or the mentions of General Thrawn, and we could and Obi-Wan did this too. They mentioned Quinlan Vos, which is just this one-off comment that roots us back into the reality that this does take place in this era.
Yeah.
And I think if we have those still, I think that's perfectly fine. But I do agree, I don't want any of these big names. And if we are, just get a different actor to play Luke.
Yeah,
please. It would be better for them to do that than for them to keep CGI fake Luke. His teeth aren't real.
Like Tom Cruise.
And George Washington. But I think that we, as a culture, as a film culture, we have grown up, basically. Because, and this is, I learned this lesson with The Batman, is that, like, it is not the face that matters, it is the character, ultimately. Now, it makes it easier to connect with the character if it is the same, but if you want more of this story, then you have to be willing to let go of Mark Hamill.
Another thing that I would like to see is I want to see another bottle episode like The Prisoner. The Prisoner
Bring back Mayfield. That's his name, right? Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Bring back Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly open to do that. They let him go at the end of season 2. Yeah, I mean, I like bottle episodes in general because they're more about, it's all about giving characters like really hard choices to make, and then you just see how they do it because they can't get out of it. They've got to make difficult decisions, and that's really revealing to character. And the fact that we got that literally, I think it was like in the first season, I think it was like right before the 2-part finale.
And that's what I was going to say is a bottle episode can be overdone, but it is a great way to push into the third act.
Right.
It is a great way to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's possible. And I think, honestly, Stranger Things probably should have done this because they've written themselves into a hole now. I don't know if season 5 is going to be good because of that. But if there's a battle episode, I think that it definitely could lead to setting up a firm foundation for where the show is going, because it will either make or break relationships. And if you have that, you don't have to explain where people are going. They're just leaving because they don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And that's obviously oversimplified, but I think it's a great way to push into the third act of not only the season, but also potentially the show.
Right.
So now mine are just like really nitpicky. I want to see Grogu get out of that damn cloth burlap sack, whatever he's wearing.
Yeah, why doesn't he have clothes? Like, I'm pretty sure in between like the first and second season, it's been a few months.
Yeah.
There's like a line where they say that. I don't know how much time is going to pass in between this. I don't know how long it's been that he was at training with Luke. I can't remember, but get more clothes.
Now,
like, he's small. Just
part of the
fabric.
problem could be the animatronic.
That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being honest, that's why. But also,
just give him a shirt.
give
with
him
like
a little t-shirt
tuxedo on it or something. Or it says "I love
Mando.
Luke Skywalker."
Yeah.
Or Continue, you piece of shit.
The last major thing that I'm looking forward to seeing in season 3, and this might be a big ask because I'm not really sure how this works, but I want to hear Grogu say words.
Oh, I didn't put that down, but that is definitely, I definitely feel. Again, he's 50 fucking years old, man.
Yeah.
He can't speak.
And that, so this part is weird to me, right? I don't understand how like the aging works in there.
Yeah.
Like, I know it might be just a slow aging, but it's 50 years, and he's still nonverbal, which we can assume is like 2.
Maybe Grogu's autistic.
Yaddle speaks in the Tales of the Jedi, like little miniseries that they put out.
Book or is that a...
No, it
Oh,
was,
I haven't watched that. Why am I looking
Yeah.
over here? I haven't watched that yet. I haven't watched that yet.
Yaddle talks in the Tales of the Jedi show, and she talks normally, like, you know, she has like a British accent, but that's about it.
Okay, yeah.
And then,
Oh, I guess that's normal.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Cockney.
No, no.
You little Yoda
She
going,
goes-
oi, I'm a freaking Jedi, mate.
I'm a Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm a Jedi, and you're gonna Jedi.
Got him.
Got him. But Yoda talks like we all know that Yoda talks. It's like stilted. I don't even know what you would call it. Like just grammatically
Deranged.
He talks deranged. He has rabies.
Yeah.
But it's slow acting like his age.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But so Yoda's 900 years, right? For 800 years have I trained Jedi. I'm pretty sure that's a direct quote from Return of the Jedi. Editor will pull that up. So that means that if Grogu... Okay, so we're assuming that Grogu is the equivalent of a 2-year-old in human years because he hasn't talked yet, and that he's 50 years old. So that means by the time Yoda was the equivalent of a human 4-year-old, he was training Jedi.
So,
Unless there's like an accelerated aging.
well, and that's what I was gonna posit is that in the Tolkien verse, the elves would age normally up till like they're like 30 or something, and then their age would start to slow down. So it
could be the
might
inverse
it
of
might
that?
be similar to that. Now, here's what I'll also say is that Disney has done a little bit of lore breaking before, and I'm not one of the people that are upset by that. So if they decide to do that with Grogu, I wouldn't be upset about it. But it is a little bit lore breaking if they do that. So it might be similar to what I said about the Tolkien verse, and it's inverted in that way.
Yeah.
But he should speak. He's 50 years old. But he already, it seems like he is already mentally competent. Childhood development. Kids don't, develop abstract thought till the age of 13. But it seems like Grogu has this because he's able to recognize patterns, specifically in Din Djarin, and that might just be because of they've built a connection.
Yeah.
But he also can take instruction and can use the Force. And I don't know how old kids usually are when they're snatched from their homes to become Jedi, but it's like
usually
6 or 7 around there.
No, it's way earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, like the reason that Anakin almost wasn't trained is he was 9 years old.
Oh,
Like they usually take them
Yeah.
like within the first few years.
Okay. Like Witchers. Rip Netflix.
Yeah. That long,
My last thing, I guess.
go for it.
Yeah, this one's pretty big for me. It's just, it's huge. I want to see less face. Less Din Djarin face. Because we saw it one time in the
Yeah.
first season, which I thought
That
one
worked
time,
beautifully.
it worked great.
Yeah.
But then in the second season, we had a whole, 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
of it. And then there was a different time at the end, too.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, again, like they kind of wrote themselves into a hole, kind of, But I want to see less of that. I think if it happens less, it's more impactful,
Fair, but I think part of the direction of the show is that it seems like he's being de-radicalized.
This is true because, as Bo-Katan explained in the second season, that the foundling that Din Djarin was, and that sect of Mandalorians that he was with was sort of a religious cult. And that's true. That's true. But I also think as a visual narrative piece itself, I would like to see less of it. Because I do agree with you with what you're saying. And I think it's probably good for his character. But it's cooler if he doesn't.
Yeah, well, again, like you said too, it is kind of a hole that they wrote themselves into. Because either way they go about it, I think it's gonna make people unhappy.
Yeah.
Because if he just continues to keep his mask on all the time, then you're gonna be like, well, what was all that other character progression? Right. Why aren't you? I'm interested to see if he takes his mask off in front of Grogu pretty consistently. Or maybe that's even like a big kind of plot thing.
Which it could be. It
Yeah.
could be. And
Like
as long
he-
as they
he
do it
doesn't
well,
know-
I
yeah.
won't have any real problems with it.
Right.
But
I think that'd be interesting. Small nitpick I have, I like the look of his new ship. It's completely functionless in terms of carrying capacity. He can now no longer do bounties.
that's true. That's very
He
true.
can now no longer move whenever they are just going in hyperspace. He just has to sit there.
Yeah.
That is super weird to me. When they were building that ship, I thought it was just for like that episode or something, and then he like flew away, and it's in the trailers, and I'm like, what? Yeah, it's weird. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure out something, but it seems to me like they're gonna move away from the bounty hunter angle and move probably more towards the going to Mandalore, doing all
Yeah.
that. So he might be more. We might be stuck more on one location for this
Yeah.
season or the next
Which-
season.
As I've said, we'll see how I feel about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe it'll be good enough for me to not care.
Long story short,
TLDR. For
TLDR.
you Redditors out there, because we know you're in there.
We know. We're excited for this season. We have a lot of ideas about where it's going to go, just from a purely storytelling perspective. There's a lot of things that it certainly could do, and we're super pumped to watch it. And these are the things that we are looking for. And anyways, we hope you guys agree. And if you don't agree, let us know, what do you want to see? Or better yet, if you don't agree with one of our points, keep it to yourself.
Or you can put it in the comments.
Or you can put it in the comment. Whatever.
I don't, as much as I'm wrong about Bluey, okay, I get it. You don't have to keep saying about Bluey.
Everyone's like, bro, Bluey's amazing.
And I'm like, okay, yes, okay. This time you
Okay.
can put what you want to see in the comments. I'm not a hater like Kyle. But if you don't do anything else, at least give a big old kiss on the like button.
Yeah.
And make sure you subscribe and turn on bell notifications icons
Yeah.
so that we can make more stuff like this.
That's true.
If you like it.
That's true.
If you don't like it, still like it.
That's true. Go check out my Indiana Jones video.
Is that out?
Yep. 2 weeks ago.
I wish I was so I could watch Star Wars. Bye bye.
All right, bye.